Hey everybody, welcome to What's Your Favorite Mental Game Tip podcast. Uh, every episode we explore one of the tips from my latest book, The B-Flight Champion's Guide to Golf. It's a book that was really written for everyday golfers like you and I. Um, I'm really excited about this week's guest. It's Scotty Bishel. He's a true B-Flight champion. He's an all-around good guy and a halfway decent golfer. So, anyway, let me introduce you to Scott. Scotty, thanks for being here, man. Great to see you.
Thanks, Jim. Good to be with you.
You know, as you know, the premise of the show is really to talk about our favorite mental game tip from the book. So, I'm going to start with that very first question. Scotty, what's your favorite mental game tip?
Oh, mine, I think, is tip number 7. No need to explain. Just play the game. And the reason I do that is you play the game one shot at a time. And if you start dwelling on what happened in the past, you're not thinking about the existing shot, so your game doesn't progress.
Yeah, it's one of my favorite tips from the book too, and I'm really happy that you chose that one. Um, for me, and why I put it in the book is I get really frustrated listening to someone explain to me what they just did. I saw it with my own two eyes, right? There was, yeah, you shanked the shot into the trees. I got it. You don't have to say a fly got in my way or a blade of grass, you know. Got clipped on my backswing or any of those other kind of famous excuses people use for a bad shot.
Yeah.
I know it, and I'm worrying about my own game, so I don't need to replay, the video from your slice or whatever it might be.
Exactly. And you're trying to concentrate on your own shot. You're not worried about how they're swinging or what happened. And sometimes people hit a bad shot, and then 4 holes later they're still talking about that one shot. They just need to let it go and stop obsessing over that one shot.
Yeah, I
Um,
mean, it's so much of what the book's about, right? It's trying to get on to the next shot. You can't do anything about what just happened. You can only
yeah.
go forward, you know. Um,
Well, I think one thing that happens with people nowadays that I see, I walk when I play golf,
yeah.
and a lot of people ride in carts. And my thought process on this is you hit a bad shot. If you're walking, you hit a bad shot, you put your club in the bag, you walk up to your ball, and now you've had time to chill out, calm down, think about the next shot, and you hit a good recovery shot. If you're in a cart, you jump in the cart, you're all pissed off, you fly up to the ball, and you hit another bad shot, and your score reflects it. And so to me, it's just, you got to let it go.
Yeah, no, absolutely, and I'm with you on walking. I think I feel like I play better golf when I'm walking, and part of it is it allows me to process, what just happened. If it happens to be, a shot I wasn't planning on, I can get it through, get it through my head. Like, okay, it's on to the next shot, and gives me a second or two to think about what I have to do next, depending on where I am, and I can prepare, and go through my pre-shot routine and do all the stuff that we need to do to play good golf. And I just feel like running with, in a car is also a distraction, right? I mean,
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
you got a conversation going.
Right. Whoever's riding with you, you got a conversation going, and you're not thinking about your shot, and you're out there for 4.5 hours, and you got to turn on and turn off your concentration. And if you're in a cart with a conversation going about something, it's way harder to do that.
Yeah, I was playing some business golf yesterday, and I just didn't play well, and neither did the guy I was playing
Yeah.
with. I could see, from his game that he was a much better golfer than how he was playing that day, but the reason was we were having a conversation, and the conversation was not about golf. So
Right.
we
Yeah.
really weren't thinking too much about the next swing, and as a consequence, we didn't play very well. You know, so yeah, what I did appreciate about the guy was to get back to this tip. He wasn't telling me about what he just did on the last shot.
Yeah, well,
So,
it's different. Basically, you're saying you're having a business meeting while you're playing golf, which
right,
is different than, playing in a men's club trying to score in a tournament.
right,
You're out there for a different purpose.
right.
And so sometimes some of your tips just don't jive with what you're trying to do.
Yeah,
And as I said, you're out there for a long time, and if you get this conversation going, it's hard to turn on and turn off your thought process to hit the ball.
yeah, no, absolutely. So, how do you personally apply this tip? I mean, I know it's your favorite one from the book, but what do you do so that you're not out
Well,
there explaining
pe-
everything to everybody else?
people that have played with me know that if I hit a bad shot, my first thing is to let my temper go, and usually some bad words come out and whatnot. But because I walk, by the time I get to the ball for the next shot, that's gone.
Yeah,
And I'm thinking about the next shot and how to recover, or whether I have to punch out, or hit whatever I have to do. The last shot is gone. And honestly, the worst thing for me is to play golf with my wife, because she's learned, but she will go off on me about cursing or whatever it is on the golf course,
mm,
and that's just my ability to vent.
mm,
That's how I let it go.
mm,
And after 5 or 10 seconds, it's gone. But if she's harping on me, then of course it continues on to the next shot, and you got to calm down even more to try to hit a recovery shot. But I mean, that's just my nature. I've always not been hot-headed, but that's my thing. Instead of laughing at it, I blow up and then it's gone.
right,
And I'm kind of competitive, so I'm getting mad at myself.
sure,
I'm not mad at the fly, I'm not mad at the mosquito, I'm not mad at the golfer 3 fairways over that hit a tree or any of that stuff. I'm
yeah,
mad because I didn't execute the shot that I thought I should hit.
sure,
But once I get to the ball for the next one, it's gone, and I'm playing the next shot.
sure. I mean, what do you think? And again, I kind of put it in the book because it is one of my sort of pet peeves. I don't like hearing about someone else's shot. You know what I mean? I got my I
Yeah.
got my own stuff going on in my head.
Yep.
But what is it about golfers do you think that kind of misunderstand this? That just can't help themselves. They
Well,
need to expand.
sometimes golfers, if how do I put this properly? Golfers that aren't the same ability that me, um, they're starting to pick your brain because you hit a good shot. Now, how do I hit that shot? And they're trying to pick your brain as to what to do and what not, instead of concentrating on their own game. Or conversely, they've hit a bad shot, they've hit another bad shot. Now they're obsessing over what their score is going to be. And, I'm 3 holes into it and I'm already 10 over par. Well, but look at your handicap. That's normal for you.
Sure. Yeah.
And I understand, I mean, golf is a hard game. So
Yeah.
I understand you want to get better, but you know, again, with the tip here, obsessing over your score while you're playing, just play one shot at a time. Some of the best rounds I've played is
Yeah.
when somebody else is keeping score and I'm just telling them a number at the end of the hole.
Right.
And I know I've got a good round going, but I don't know what the number is. And when I get done, I'm like, okay, the first number's a 7 on this one. And then they tell you what the score is. And it's like, okay, I knew I had a good round going, but
Yeah. No,
um,
I think to the degree, to your point, to the degree that you can just be thinking about the shot you got in front of you, you're going to play better, you
yeah.
know. And I kind of feel like the one of the reasons why golfers struggle with this is they feel I don't know. I think it's an ego thing. They feel bad. They feel embarrassed. They hit a bad shot. So they have to explain why they hit the bad shot. So it's not that
Yeah,
I'm a bad golfer. It's because this mosquito flew into my eye and
you're
my
right.
backswing.
Yeah, yeah,
And I think it's sort of a defense mechanism, you know. But I think what people fail to realize, and I think if they did understand it a little bit more, it's the impact that their explanation has on others' games,
yeah,
because it affects my game when I have to
right.
listen to somebody
Yep.
tell me that,
Yeah,
yeah, I hit it into the tree. Yeah, I saw it,
yeah,
now I'm in the
yeah. I
woods.
help you find it now. Now hit it out of
Exactly,
the trees. Yeah,
exactly.
yeah, and
Hey,
move on. Yeah.
let me take a minute and let the sponsor give us a quick message of 15, 20 seconds, and we'll be back to our conversation, okay?
Okay.
Every golfer hits bad shots. Better golfers recover faster. The B-Flight Champion app gives you practical mental game tips each week so you can bounce back, build confidence, and lower your scores. Start your journey today at bflightchampionapp.com.
So let's get back into this. What is one of the pieces of advice you could give somebody who struggles with this particular issue?
Well, in your tip, further down in the paragraph there, it talks about establishing a routine.
Yeah.
And that's so important. People that have played with me, you'll watch me do the same thing over and over and over and over again. And that's part of the mindset of executing the shot. It's, okay, the mosquito flew in my face. Well, that's going to happen. But if you're concentrating on your routine, you don't see the mosquito. And establishing a routine, whether it's walking up to the ball from behind, taking a practice swing, stepping in and hitting the shot, or whatever your routine is, uh, stick with that over and over again. Uh, I know a guy who was a pro in at Quarry Ridge, and his thing was is that you're out on the golf course for 4.5, 5 hours. That's a long time, and his routine started when he put his glove on, and that started the whole. Okay, now I'm thinking about the shot, what the yardage is, what I'm going to do. And then he'd execute the shot and then take the glove off. And now the routine is over, and you go on to walking up to hit your next shot. And it's just, I just think it's important to establish a routine so you're doing the same thing over and over and over again when you're trying to execute a shot.
Yeah. No, absolutely. And I do the same thing. And it's almost, well, it is at this point pre-programmed. I set
Yeah,
up every time. It's interesting when I play with folks that, have never played with me before. We'll get to the end of the round, maybe grab a beer or something. And they'll say, "Well, boy, you've got this like really weird setup, but you hit the ball really well, but and I'm like, yeah, I mean, it's taken me years to get that setup, and that's why
yeah,
I hit the ball really
a
well
lot of
because I just,
practice. Yeah.
yeah, I
Yeah,
use it on every shot, and you know, I don't particularly care what it looks like. I feel like at this point it's drilled so deep into my mind that it's just how I get ready to hit a shot and make it.
yeah.
All other thoughts go out of my head except for
I do the same thing. And as far as thoughts in your head, my swing thoughts are very simple. It may be one thing or two thing depending on what club I'm hitting or what, usually, like, my driver, I tend to get steep on sometimes. So the last thing I'll think is flat. So I flatten my swing out.
mm,
Uh, when I'm putting, the last thing I think about, because I do drills putting, is my thought is putting green, and I hit the shot. And it just, you got to keep the game. It's hard. The game is hard enough. You just got to keep it simple. But if
right.
you're thinking, the worst guy to play with is the one that had a lesson yesterday. And now he's out there and he's thinking about his grip, and he's thinking about how far back to take the club and following through and this and he's just going to be a mess.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's quickly followed up by the guy that had a great practice session on the range the day before.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And now he comes out and it just can't hit the
Yeah,
ball.
I was murdering the ball yesterday on the range.
Yeah,
Well, okay, you haven't found the fairway in the first 7 holes, but okay.
yeah,
I'm glad you
yeah.
had a great practice.
Driving range is very wide. Sometimes fairways are not.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Um, hey, look, I end up with this, what I like to think of as the closing questions, but it's really kind of rapid fire. And I'm going to ask all my guests the same question. So here goes. You ready?
yep.
Just tell me the first thing that pops into your head. What's the biggest mental mistake amateur golfers make?
Thinking,
What
thinking. You
what's
know, I got a friend of mine who, when we're playing, he says, if you're thinking, you're stinking,
yeah,
and you can't think. That's why you develop a routine, is you can't be thinking about how you're going to hit the ball. You watch any pro sports on TV, you know, those guys, they're not thinking, they're reacting.
mm,
And it's the same thing with an amateur golfer or somebody learning the game. You can't be thinking about what you're doing. You just need to get up and react.
sure. All right, let me hit you with the next one. What's the one thing golfers should stop doing immediately?
Riding in carts.
I
I
love
know
that.
it brings in revenue for the golf course,
Uh,
but for me, it's the game is much more enjoyable when you walk. And I truly believe it moves along faster if you're not riding in a cart.
all right, well, here's the question, rapid fire. This is the kissing cousin of the one I just asked you. Well,
Yeah,
what's one thing amateur golfers should start doing immediately?
practicing.
Yeah,
You know, this game is not like bowling where you can go to an alley, pick out a ball, and throw it down and have a good time. You know, there's technique you have to learn. Uh, you know, it's a hard game, and yeah, you can get better by playing a lot, but you can get even better by hitting putts and hitting chips and going to the driving range and actually working on your swing and your routine.
yeah, yeah. I feel that way too. And it's you can't expect to roll out of bed early on Saturday morning, grab a cup of coffee someplace along the way, get to the golf course, hop out, put all your things together, and one you know uh, sort of dive out of your car, get to
Yeah,
the
run
first
up to the
tee
tee and
box.
hit a ball.
Right, it just doesn't happen. Um, so look, last question. If every golfer watching today or listening remembers one thing from our conversation, Scotty, what would you want it to be?
Develop a routine.
Mhm.
Develop a routine for hitting shots and you know, as I said with the guy there, that his starts with putting the glove on. From the
Right,
moment you put the glove on, or whatever you pick, from the moment you take the club out of the bag, now you're just thinking about executing that shot,
right.
and you're not thinking about the mosquitoes or the anything else. It's funny. One story, if I may.
Sure.
Um,
Yeah.
um, I saw an interview with Nancy Lopez, and she was talking about late in her career playing in some tournament. She was lining up a putt, and she heard a portalet door slam. And she's thinking to herself, I've never heard that before. Maybe it's time to retire because I'm not concentrating properly.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what you have to do.
Yeah.
You,
No,
you develop that routine so you're blocking everything out and just executing that shot.
yeah, absolutely. I couldn't agree more, and I guess I'd add the other thing I'd love for folks to take away is, you know, don't tell me what you just did. Just keep playing.
Absolutely. Yeah. Just play.
Yeah.
Yeah. That you're not going to do anything about the shot you just hit.
Right.
So go up and hit your recovery shot and move on.
Yeah. All right, Scotty. Hey, it was great catching up with you today. Thanks for
Yeah. Good to be
sharing.
with you.
Thanks for sharing your favorite tip with us. Look forward to more conversations with you down the road.
Absolutely. Thank you, Jim.
So long.